So life is a series of experiences. You will find that in life there are going to be different experiences that you have, some that you don't understand, some that you do, and some that you will shut out because they were just that traumatic. So years ago, a great deal happened when I was little, but I could not remember what was going on. I think I closed it out because I didn't even want to know. And then there was some things that happened in regards to where some things were given to me so that I would not remember. So let us begin. I was teaching middle school at the time, and I was in a classroom that I shared with another teacher. Now, the teacher and I didn't really have much conversation, and it seemed strained more than anything. You know, we'd have conversations, but they were commercial conversations. It's almost as though we really didn't know each other, and we had our own work schedule. So you tried to be quaint and, have, light conversations before or after classes in between. But, we were colleagues, and respectfully so. So this was the last day of school, and there was so much going on. I believe that I mentioned this story before, but I have to revisit because there's a certain portion of the story that was not included before. But it must be said because I believe that it might bring a better understanding and a better perspective to all involved. So I'm going to tell you, I wasn't always comfortable. I wasn't very comfortable with my colleagues at the school because, there were certain cliques, people that got along, people who would meet after work, and I wasn't part of the in crowd. Let's just be honest, I was not. I had one friend who was she was in another classroom, on another side of the building. And, I'd go to her and we talk and we hang out, eat lunch together, but she was really my only person. There were other people who I'd have little conversations with, but no one as close as this person. So, as it stands, we were in this small classroom, and, it was the last day of school. I was trying to clean my portion of the classroom up, get my keys, turn them in so I could get out of here. I was on my way back to Bayonne, and at the time, I was very much in love in the relationship, and I really wanted to get back to him because we were planning on having a picnic in the living room or something. Whatever the case was, we were both happy that the end of school had ended, end of the school year was coming to a close, and we were, he was a football coach, and I was trying my hardest to get back to him so that we could, get certain things done and plan, what we would probably be doing for the summer. We just had a lot of plans that we were trying to put in place. So I'm in the classroom, and I had an argument with my bestie, and she's saying, why are you leaving? Why are you making this, why are you leaving the school? This should not be your last year. And I told her, I said, sometimes it's a bigger situation than that. And I told her, I have a bad feeling. Something going on in this building, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But that when I feel this way, I have to leave. And if I stay, I'm going to bring, bring them around down because I'm going to start complaining, and people are not going to like it. Then they're going to start complaining, and it's not going to make it a healthy environment in the building. So she bit her lip because basically she did want to, finish talking to me, but she had her stuff to do and I had my stuff to do. We had to close out the school year. So I went back down to my classroom, and, there were other teachers coming in. Now, the room was very small, so I didn't understand why they were all coming in. My colleague had plans, and, she was, I believe, getting ready to get married. And, I wasn't invited, and I understood why, because we really weren't close, and I really didn't know her, and she didn't know me. So, although we did go to the same high school, and I believe I graduated one of her sisters, something like that. So, not to get too personal. So, either way, the people who were coming in, they were trying to have light conversation, but they were basically in like a huddle. The room was very small, so they pulled the chairs and moved the desks so that they could sit like in a square, two chairs facing each other, these chairs facing, And then when my colleague came in, they were going to, you know, talk about the wedding or whatever they were doing. So my colleague came in, and you know how somebody just leaves their house in a rush and maybe they didn't think it out, I don't know. But it was kind of, you know, she had on pants, but the pants were, they were kind of tight. And I think what it was, like I said, sometimes when you're in a rush and maybe you didn't put your clothes out the night before, so you end up coming to school. So she came to work with these pants on. And the pants were kind of low, like you know how a plumber, they say plumber's pants, and your pants are kind of low. So she was wearing those, and I was really uncomfortable in this classroom. The energies of everyone, you know, because I'm empathic, and I was feeling uncomfortable. They felt my discomfort, and I felt some of their discomfort. You know, one of the teachers, you know, female, you know, she tried to carry on somewhat of a conversation, but I really didn't feel as though she really liked me, to be quite honest. So she was making a light conversation, but I was feeling certain things, and it's almost like I was hearing a conversation going on in her head. Now, honestly, it could be me being, you know, overly sensitive. We'll put it that way. But I just felt like she really didn't like me, but she was like trying to carry on this conversation, and I was bothered by it because I really was trying to get out of there. So they left for us for a minute, and I guess to show pictures or to do whatever they were doing, and a male teacher came in. And the male teacher came in, and he was like, so why are you leaving? And I'm thinking, how could you be talking? You barely spoke to me during the school year. And the male who came in to speak to me, he was very well respected in the school building, very well respected. Very handsome too, I might add that. But I didn't understand why he was coming to talk to me, because he really didn't know me. And I knew that the principal and him were very close, so she must have shared with him that I was leaving. My contract, first of all, was up, and the only way I would have been able to renew it is if I were going to complete a program at the school. And honestly, at the time I had completed some coursework at LIU. And I really, to be honest with you, like I said, there were certain things that were going on. I felt like God was telling me it's time to go. And nothing puts a real exclamation point on it like this, the end of this day. So the same teacher who came in, and I felt like he was being combative towards me, like his words, his body language. And I'm thinking, in a way, I mean, I understood it later that he really cared for the students here. He really wanted a strong teacher to remain. You know, someone who could relate to the kids, someone who would be more of a strong, you know, person in their lives. And I understood. I understood even when I left the Bronx, from teaching in the Bronx, but I had to move on. And the way in which he was doing, I know that I think he did it with great love, but it wasn't as respectful as I would have liked it. I felt like he was kind of harsh in the way that he was talking to me. But again, I believe he was driven by what he felt was right. So I couldn't, you know, get upset about that. But at the time I was, because I was in my head. I was trying to get out of there. The emotions of feeling everyone else's emotions, I wasn't able to control it at that point in time. And again, when you're empathic, you're feeling all these emotions. It's almost like a crowded stadium. You just want to get out. So one of the janitors had come up, and he was very upset. No, he didn't come up. It was one of the repairmen came up, and he was saying how he understood why I was leaving, because there was something going on in the basement. And I said, this is more of a spiritual thing that's going on in that basement. And, you know, and when we had this conversation, we were both in agreement with what was going on in the basement. So that was one thing that I felt I needed to get out of that building, because I felt like there was too much going on there. And then this guy comes in, and then my colleagues leave, and I know they're coming back. I'm really trying to get out of this room, because I feel like something is about to happen, and I know that I want to get out of here. So while he's talking to me, you know, and I'm telling him, I said, you know, honestly, I didn't want to say it's none of your business, because I feel like that is one of the rudest things you can say to a person, even though I really was kind of driving to say that to him. He was distracted by something that was going on in the background. And I was very happy because I was not about to have an argument with this man about what I'm going to do. And again, we never really had any real conversations. How is it that he even cared? He cared about the children. Okay, so he left. When he left, all of a sudden, no, that's not when it happened. So he left. So my colleagues came back into the room. And when they came back in, they came back to their same chairs, seating areas. And my colleague, the person who I shared the classroom with, came in. And when she came in, she turned her back to me. And I had to look down at this plumber's back, and I could not get my eyes off of what was in front of me. I was thinking in my mind that I wish that she would have, worn different pants. But I couldn't pull my eyes away from her because it was like a vision. Behind her, I'm looking at her. Now, anyone from the outside would say I was staring at her bottom. But what it was is I was having a vision of something that happened to me as a child. How can you explain this to your colleagues who are thinking, why is she staring at this woman? It was like a movie, like I was envisioning something that I didn't even know happened. And God chose to do it this way. It's just the craziest thing. It was almost like it was an inappropriate thing that happened to me. And I was literally watching this happen while in my mind, while this woman, and she's standing in front of me, and I cannot, so one of our colleagues took her by her arms and moved her away and had her sit somewhere else. But that's what happened. Before that, if you'd asked me that if these things happened to me before, I would have told you absolutely not. I don't know what you're talking about. God has things happen at the weirdest time to you, but it was the best time for him. Now, if I could go back to that moment, I wish that I had known that this already happened to me as a child and that I didn't have to be looking at someone else and in a crowded room being totally uncomfortable, and for this to happen. Now, again, this is not something that I would have even shared. But when it happens to so many people, and everyone who was in that room, I'm sure the story has been out there. And I wanted to apologize to my coworker and my other people who were in the room for what they might have observed. But at that point in time, I just wanted to get out of that building. I felt like I didn't need one more example that said it's time to go. When it's time to leave a party and you stay too long, things happen. In this case, this was a building, and all I needed to do was just turn in my keys and get my room clean and take my stuff out. But for some reason, the day lasted too long in this building, and everyone kept saying, you can't leave until this, you can't leave until that. And they had a little brunch or party afterwards. I just wanted to get out. And to have an argument with my bestie, was just one thing after the next. It was time to go. So if things could not get any worse, I finally get out of the room and I'm asked to go back into the room. The same male teacher who approached me, police are surrounding him. Police are all throughout the building. We're asked to go into our room so that whatever's going on out there is supposed to be, finishing up. And then later on, we're told that something happened with this male teacher, and the police were there for so many reasons. Again, I'm sure that he might have felt almost as embarrassed as I did with police coming in to question him on his behavior or otherwise. It was at this point in time, it was almost like I had to go into the bathroom and throw up. It was because it was just too much at once. Someone might be experiencing too much at once at this point in time, where they feel that they need to release, whether it be throw up, whether it be they need a reprieve. You need to get down on your knees and talk to God about it, because there's no one else who's going to understand what it is that you're going through, because what you're going through is whatever it is you put out there, you're receiving it all at once. You can't turn to anybody but God at this point. And the best thing for you to do is talk to God, because anyone else that you speak to is not going to be able to relate and understand everything that you're going through. All that I went through during that period of time, it was embarrassing, it was annoying. Again, who in the world would want to reflect on something that happened emotionally as a child, with it happening in your workplace in front of your colleagues? This is what some people have to go through. Sometimes God will put you through a big explosion before you go through your own ascension. Sometimes you need awakening to change, to make change. I probably, in some cases, was being warned that it's time to go, because having the argument with my friend, my bestie, felt like maybe I should reconsider being here longer, but I could not. It was time to go in so many different ways. God was putting an exclamation point on it, like it's time to go. Go. It's like that song, get out the way, move, get out the way, you know. It's so long, you know the song. So in that song, he's saying, move, get out the way. When God is trying to make a change in your life, you got to get out of your headspace where you think that you're controlling things, because you're not controlling a doggone thing. God is controlling it. And sometimes it takes these experiences for you to realize it is time to wake up. Wake up. All right. That's been my word. Thank you for joining us. It is so lovely being you.